All right. Hi, everyone. This is Eutimia here, Eutimia Montoya. I am flying solo today, which is kind of daunting. But it's also kind of fun because I get to pretend like I'm talking to you all, or I am talking to you all. Okay, strike that. Reverse it. I'm going to be talking to you all even though you're not here in the studio with me. So it's really kind of like talking to myself. But I've been practicing talking to myself recently because, hey, we all have to have good relationships with ourselves too, right? Right. All right. Yay. Here we are. Okay, so hopefully I'm entertaining. I entertain myself. I have a dog. She's pretty cool. Her name's Girasol. That's like she's the light of my life. She faces the sun at all times. And I'm really into puppy love. Speaking of puppy love, today, because I do not have a guest, I have brought this box. I don't know if you guys can see this box. It's a really special box because it has high school love letters in it. Really cute. So I was in high school before everybody was rampantly texting. So we would actually write letters to each other. So we'll get to that. Sometimes we folded them up. Really cute. Look how cute this is. It's folded up. Really cute. So I brought that to share with y'all. They might not be too exciting because I was a virgin in high school. Stayed that way till after high school because I was threatened by an uncle once that I better not lose my virginity. I made him promise before 18. So I kind of want to talk about just whatever comes up for me today. And I want you all to know that you can write in, text me, and I'm going to go ahead and give my number because probably you can find it if you looked for it anyway. My cell phone number that I've had since I got a cell phone when I was like 18 or something is 303-877-3656. Text me and you can ask me any questions. So what I do for a living is I treat people with holistic healthcare. My modalities are, oh man, it's kind of crazy. Hands-on healing, and I am a doctor of Chinese medicine as well as a practitioner of curanderismo, which is Southwest Native healing arts, Mexican healing arts, and that's per my lineage on both sides. And I also do parts of a modality called Body Talk, which is a consciousness-based system of medicine that uses applied kinesiology to test the body for priority for healing. All different kinds of things come up, and in that there's a lot of kind of spiritual work. So in my life, I deal with a lot of people and their relationships, and it's not just their romantic relationships, it is also their relationships with their parents. Honestly, I get a lot of parent stuff, a lot of grandparent stuff. I have treated people who have been sexually assaulted. I have treated people who have done sexual assaulting. I have helped people give birth. I have helped people recover from abortions. And it all basically comes down to love, how you're loving, which ways you're loving, who you're loving, how you're choosing to love. So I really this is fun for me in that I get a lot of questions about how to do love. So in my background about love, Tia Timi's got stories. Hashtag Tia Timi. Hashtag stories. Stories are the things we tell ourselves, the things that have happened to us that we go on and on and on and on and on again in our head. The more we tell our stories, the more true those stories are. So if we're someone who goes around saying, I've never been in love, you keep yourself from falling in love. If we're someone who goes around saying, no man has ever loved me, regardless of whether a man does love you, you will keep on living, no man has ever loved me, because that is the story you are telling yourself. And stories, just like words, have power. They do not call it spelling for no reason. Think about that. Okay, so if you just joined me, I'm Tia Timi, Eutimia Cruz Montoya. I am a healthcare wellness practitioner. I do a lot of relationship counseling in my practice. I do a lot of parent help in my practice, and I do a lot of healing. That's my thing, and not just other people. I do a lot of healing on myself. So currently I'm seeing regularly 2 different types of practitioners, a curandera sobadora yerbera, somebody who gives me herbal remedies, prescribes me rituals. This upcoming week I'm going to see her, and she's going to rub my womb, I think, or do some adjustments. I've had that done by some really awesome people before, and This is heat. I look how Gucci is. And I also see a Chinese medicine practitioner named Li Lu. And he does some really intense manipulations on my spine and acupuncture. In these processes, I find that my body has stored trauma. We all have trauma. We all have a lot of different kinds of trauma. And just because you might have trauma that other people don't have, don't mean that you don't have your own trauma. So we are all dealing with these traumas in our own ways. And I'm going to say again, our traumas also are related to the stories we tell ourselves. So I'm waiting for texts for you guys to tell me what kinds of questions you want to know things about. So my number is 303-877-3656, and you can text me and I can read your question anonymously, or you can call in and I can put it on the speaker. You can ask me things. Why would you want me to be telling you about relationships? That's a good question. Well, I think I've been in love more times than most of you. Maybe you don't want me to tell you how many times, but I had a love, Themy's first love. You know who you are. Started happening when I was about 7 years old, and we grew up together. And it ended probably around when I was 16, right around the time I started dating Mr. Loverboy from these high school notes right here. And after that, college, I had a love on and off, back and forth. And in the interim, I just explode with love all over the place for a lot of different people. And that doesn't mean sex, okay? So we have this, I'm going to talk about sex. I'm going to talk about sex and love, and I'm going to talk about why sex is not love. And I'm going to talk about some sex can be love. And I'm going to talk about how sex can be really toxic and not fucking love at all. Okay. I read in Brigitte Mars's book, Sexual Herbalism, yesterday, that we need to start taking apart our vocabulary, if it's negative, from sexuality. Since Puritan times, since colonialism, since colonization, since the Holy Roman Empire really divorced us from our connection to our sexuality as sacred, we have been pejoratizing, I think that's a word. We have been creating negative thought patterns around sexuality. Sex is something very, very sacred. Sex is something that generates life. In order to have a baby, you have to have sex. So if we are thinking bad things, if we are enacting ugly, violent things in our sexual space, that is going to generate ugly, violent life. All right? So, ugly, violent life. Anybody know anything that's ugly and violent in their lives? I don't know, maybe like rape or molestation, pedophilia. It's pretty violent. What else? There's domestic violence, people hitting each other and hurting each other, people calling each other horrible, mean names. Yeah, all that stuff. So what I want to do in my practice and as a human being is reclaim the body as something sacred. That can mean a lot of things. I'm interested in knowing what you might think it means. You can go ahead and call me, write me, 303-877-3656, and we can talk about that. Now, sacred sexuality. I will tell you there is a bone that looks like this at the bottom, the root of the back side of the body. It's called the sacrum. That means it is sacred. So even in our etymological understanding of the body, that root place where we create life is sacred. Now, I have to talk about, when I talk about this, I have to talk about birth. So I've done birth work, I've done home births, I've done hospital births, and I'm just going to get right to it. Hospitals do not honor the sanctity of birth. One, in the ICD-9 codes, they actually list hospitalizations as pathologies, or rather pregnancies as pathologies. Like there is a code for pathology that is pregnancy. Pregnancy is not a sickness, guys. Pregnancy is like generating life, okay? So that's the first thing. When you enter the hospital and you are pregnant, they treat you like you're sick. You're not sick. You're creating life. okay? That goes to patriarchy and taking away the power of women to give birth, all right? So I've only seen, I haven't seen a whole lot of births, but I remember one birth in particular that was a home birth, and she ran away from the hospital, which was pretty great because she had part of her water had broken. We realized after she gave birth that not her whole water had broken. That can happen if the placenta is weird, if the amniotic sac is weird, or just not normal or not run-of-the-mill amniotic fluid sac. But half of her water had broken. She went to the hospital and they wanted to induce labor. And labor can be induced by a lot of means. That's one of the things I do in my acupuncture practice is induce labor using different acupressure points or needling different acupuncture points, or even just using my hands to needle those points, or rather stimulate those points. So this person goes to the hospital. She wasn't in labor at all. Active labor means that you're having contractions about every minute, or every 5 minutes or so that are at least a minute long. And different places have different definitions of active labor, but it's pretty much like eventually when you're in the labor process, you will kind of almost be contracting the whole time. What contractions are, and I'm going to get graphic on you. This is fun. I like gore, but not that it's gory, but it's crazy. It's anatomy. It's really, really cool. So your cervix, a woman's cervix, which is like the opening to the uterus, okay? It's like a little donut, little donuts. Some people's are really pretty and tiny. Some people have used it a lot more. Some people have had a lot of babies, so it's torn in some places. But either way, it's like a little donut. It's like this big, and even about the width or so of my finger, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, depending on the person. The process of birthing, what this little thing that's like this thick turns into, it flattens and stretches and opens so that it can fit a baby's head through. So every single time there's a contraction and the baby like pushes down, the cervix starts stretching to open. So it cracks me up. In our vernacular, people are like, "Don't be a little pussy." It's like, well, maybe if you were more like a pussy, you wouldn't be such a wussy. Maybe wussy is better. I don't know. I don't like talking stuff. Actually, I'm a liar. I kind of do like talking stuff. Duality. But vaginas are strong, yo. So strong, okay? We have to like open and push babies out through our vagina. And then after that, they can go right back up. Well, not right back. You need like 40 days. So, anyways, hospital birthing is very invasive and very violent, okay? In indigenous traditions of birthing, and this is all over the world, different types of birthing practices, but all based on honoring a warrior mother who is bringing life, actually going to the spirit realm and bringing life through her vagina, okay? There is a ceremony around it. Women get together, and maybe even women get together and they sing, and maybe they dance, and they give massages, and there's they call in the great powers and the ancestors and the grandmothers, and they make herbal teas, and you make medicinal soups, things like that, and have like this community gathering of birthing. And there's love, so much love there. And the women turn into these warriors, these like young warriors. And I've been in that. I haven't given birth myself, but I do birth work. And so I've seen women go, "Huh," and they're like going for it, right? And they're making these primal noises, and their faces are ugly and raw and crazy, amazing. And then they go, "Huh," and they push a baby out, and they bring it and put it right here. I have also seen during this process how men kind of step back, and they watch, and they ask how to help. And in birthing is when our yin and our yang come full circle, okay? So men are usually young, forceful, fast, moving, strong, right? And women are more yielding and holding. It's just our nature. It's not sexism, it's nature, okay? That's the nature of men versus the nature of women, or rather the masculine versus the feminine. I'm not genderizing here. I'm talking about duality. Now, when birth happens, it flips, and the women are whoa, and the men are like a wall, or like I imagine them in the outside of a circle holding hands. And they are helping the women bring life, and they're holding space, and they're protecting. And that's very yin, that yielding to the women during that birthing process. At one point when I saw a birth happen like that, it shifted in me, and I understood what yin and yang was. And I thought to myself, no wonder the world is so fucked up, because birth has been taken from us. Okay, birth has been taken from us. So when you go into a hospital birth, they're like, all right, we're gonna do this. Lay down in a bed. Let's give you an epidural so you don't feel anything. How is that warrior? Okay, we are warriors. Women are warriors. And I don't want to place judgment on women who've gone through it and done it like that, because that's what we've been fed as a society. We've forgotten that we're warriors. We've forgotten that our bodies were built to do this. Okay, statistically, only 5% of women ever need any medical intervention. Like there's something blocking the birth canal, or there's something wrong with the baby and they need to get it out. So when that's the case, thank you, Western medical industrial complex. No, not the industrial complex. Ugh, let's stop. Thank you, Western medicine. Thank you, science to some degree. Thank you, blades. Okay, thank you, the discipline of using them. We're honoring that. There's awesome stuff in surgery. What isn't cool is when you're pushing interventions for profit, and that's what happens in hospitals, y'all. For the most part, they can save your life if you need it, and that's only 5% of the time. So it's good to have a good midwife that can know what kinds of signs to watch for if there is true danger. Most of the time there's not. There's whole free birthing communities where women will go off into the distance, into silence. That's where a lot happen in Native communities and different African communities I've read about. My degree from Stanford was in anthropology, so I read a lot about birthing. And we can do it ourselves, okay? So anyways, bringing that all back around to love, if we're completely discommunicated from our own warrior selves, from our own potential, from our own ability to be strong and full and have really divine creation work through us, how are we going to have healthy relationships with anybody? If your first greeting into the world is a bunch of bright lights and screams and nobody talking to you, and you get ripped from your mother, that's very, very different than your greeting into the world being with song and with love and with calmness and being on your mother's breast right away. So I really believe a lot of the dysfunction in the Western world, in our relationships and in war-torn countries, etc., is the violence we're born into. Now, that's just something to think about. So once again, this is Kwaxiru, and I am talking about birth practicing as a means for understanding the violence of how we come into the earth. And I am also talking about anything love related. So that was, I don't know if it was a tangent I went on. Probably, I do that. And it's something I'm very passionate about, clearly, because I believe that we need to reclaim our birth practices, and men need to support women in giving birth, giving natural birth, giving warrior birth. And women need to honor the warrior within. And hospitals need to help when they're asked to help and when they can help, but not force interventions onto people whose bodies are perfectly capable. So that's one thing. All right, so we're going to lighten the mood. Sorry about that. Not really sorry, but sorry, not sorry. If that was heavy, maybe you guys tuned out. That's okay. Maybe some people listen to this and be like, word, maybe I made some generalizations that might not have been substantiated. I'm speaking from my personal experience as a curandera, as a healthcare practitioner, a holistic healthcare practitioner with indigenous background. So that's my 2 cents. I'm super open to any dissenters, anybody saying, no, this is my research. I will always ask you, who funds your research? Who funds your research? And if you'd say Pfizer, I probably won't believe you. I probably won't believe you because they, not going to get into it, but Why don't you reset, check? All right, reset, check. So because I'm here by myself and my sweet friend canceled on me, I found this box. And in this special little box right here, everyone, are letters from high school. It's before we had these handy little gadgets. Everybody's walking around with a computer in their pocket. We used to write notes, guys, on paper. And sometimes we folded them up all cute. So since we're talking about relationships, I'm about to read you this really, really cute little thing. This is interesting. This is funny. This brings up stuff about the school system. Okay, this is from my high school boyfriend who shall remain nameless. If you're out there, if you ever listen, hey, tell your wife and baby I said hi. Okay. Good morning, baby. How are you this cold, chilly day? It is so cold today. It gets cold in Colorado. I'm glad that I didn't have to drive because in between Colorado Boulevard and East, it was so slick, even in my friend's car. Did you go to bed early, honey? This is really, really exciting, isn't it? I'm sitting in first period with the new teacher, and I'm still in disbelief how rude the class is. Oh, rude students. It's probably a problem of the system, systematic fuckery in the United States school system. I feel really bad for the new teacher because every time he tries to get the class to do something, all they do is talk back. I'm surprised that he hasn't given up yet. I'm surprised all you teachers living with the school system haven't given up yet. What the hell, the United States of America? It is really bad. So, baby, do you still want to go to the dance? If you do, you should let me know so I can get the tickets today. Okay. I have to go because class is over in 1 minute. I miss you a lot. See you soon. Hugs and kisses. Parentheses, high school boyfriend who shall remain nameless. All right, so that was kind of cute. I mean, it was cuter to me when I read it earlier. Let's talk about the high school system. Let's talk about schools. I know this isn't about love, but everything's about love, okay? Everything's about love. We all need to show more love in our work. So when you remove people, actual people, from creating rules or creating communities, what happens? You lose respect for those things. Nobody's really invested. Sometimes the teachers are invested in their work, and actually a lot of teachers are invested in their work, but they're really fighting a losing battle because there's all these administrators and administration, and what is it all about? It's about the bottom line. Okay, we have school systems that prioritize test results to win money for the schools. So everybody knows that schools in richer neighborhoods have higher test scores and schools in poorer neighborhoods have lower test scores and equal with the amenities in those schools. So there's just a lot that we could do about our school systems. I personally, when I have kids, I'm going to choose to homeschool them because I don't believe in the way schools are run or the way administrators are in the classroom and they're making the rules, or the way we pay our teachers like $30,000 a year and they're raising the kids, or the way the school system completely disenfranchises parents from the responsibility of their children. So parents are not with their children, and the whole way the system makes it like that so that somebody else can raise our kids without our own values. Anyways, I can go on and on about this. This isn't a show about the school system. This is a show about love and relationships. Let's see. Let's read another of these. This is how I amuse myself. Who wrote this to me? This is a girlfriend of mine. I have no idea what's in this letter, but I might be embarrassed to read it. Shout out to my two sisters. We had names. I was a little sexalicious Latin lover. Mind you, I was a virgin all throughout high school. This friend who we're going to write, who wrote this is a horny, sexy mama chick. And then the other one was Bootylicious baby bootylicious shaker. something. Bootylicious Baby Shaker. I don't remember. Okay, but we had little acronyms. So they were calling me Little G. Hello, Eutimia. You look very beautiful this morning. You're beautiful anyways. Aw, thank you. I am bored this morning, so I have to do something. I didn't get any last night, but I sure did want some. Oh my God, this is embarrassing for me. He's going to jail this week because of all his speeding tickets. Okay, that usually happens to brown people, FYI, or black people go to jail because of speeding tickets. I mean, I don't know. If you're white and you've gone to jail for speeding tickets before, let me know. That sucks because he might not be at my B-Day party. So do you think you're going to be able to go? Oh man, this is really funny. So I am going to stop reading this one because it's just ridiculous. Oh my God. Some of the things we do in high school. Okay, so I talk a lot of stuff. In high school, I talk a lot of stuff about things that I didn't know anything about. And one of them was sex, which I didn't know a lot about. But some of my friends did, and we talked a lot about that. And we talked a lot about cunnilingus. Does anybody know what cunnilingus is? Cunning linguist. Probably a lot of you do know. It means providing sexual pleasure with your mouth, particularly to a vagina. Okay, you guys are seeing something. I'm probably blushing right now. I was raised Catholic, and if my mom's watching, she's probably blushing too. I'm not supposed to be talking about this kind of stuff, but I'm grown, and I'm trying to move through it, and I'm trying to be a grown moving through talking about sex, but apparently I'm not very good at it, and I need a friend. I need a friend here, but I'm not gonna get a friend here right now. I just have my high school love letters. I'm so embarrassed right now. I'm on live YouTube vision. All right, so cunnilingus, we used to talk a lot about that because I think that was something we had all experienced in high school. So if you're watching right now, I want to know when the first time you experienced fellatio or cunnilingus was, because I think that could be a fun question. Like, what is the average age an American person experiences oral sex? For me, that happened a good time before I actually had sexual intercourse. But now that I'm thinking about my life right now, it's interesting to me how embarrassed I just got, and it really goes to show the ways we've been conditioned to hate our sexuality. I thought I was pretty open. I thought I was pretty free. And then my friend in my high school letter starts talking about head, and I freak out a little bit. Am I red? Am I? Only recently have I started to really enjoy cunnilingus. It was always something to me, and I have something about oral hygiene. I'm like, ugh, like if people's mouths to me are gross. So I wasn't ever really into it. And then I guess it just depends on your partner and how good they are at that. So it's only been recently that I've been really learning to enjoy cunnilingus. Now, fellatio, on the other hand, I really enjoy. I enjoy that because I think it's a power thing. I think it's a power thing. When a man is receiving fellatio, pretty much you can do anything you want. And it's not like I wouldn't like try to like murder him or anything, but like I think about that, and I'm like, wow, you're putty in my hands right now. And I've had different girlfriends, and we talk about the ways, the methodologies. So I really encourage you guys out there to talk about your experiences with your man friends, with your lady friends. If you're a girl, talk with a guy. If you're a guy, talk with a girl. Even if you guys aren't dating, and especially when you are dating or you are sexually active with each other, talk to each other. There is no shame in asking questions. How do you like it? How would you prefer that? Let's talk about how we prefer it. Okay, because some people's preference might be different than another person's preference. I will always say consent is super awesome and wonderful. And as my friend Lady Speech would say, consent is sexy. So if you ask, then you're likely to get even more excited about it. You know, your partner's like, thank you for asking. So that's an exciting thing. Sex. So here's another question. I want to know how many people had a conversation about having sex the first time they had sex? How many of you actually had a conversation about whether you were going to have sex before you actually had sex? That is something that I didn't get to experience. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about, and I started talking about this earlier, our vernacular, our words around sex. We say as humans, as women, I lost my virginity. It's so disempowering, y'all. It's so disempowering. Like, I want to say that time when I emerged in the beauty of my carnal exploration. That first time I allowed myself to explode in the arms of the love of my body. Let's say those kinds of things. I lost my virginity. Oh, by the way, this is my Halloween costume and I'm a virgin. I crack myself up. Can you tell? It's like so dainty, right? Like, oh, it's so nice and lavender. It's like pale purple. I'm such a virgin. That's my Halloween costume. So to keep it real, though, when I lost my virginity, I mean when I first explored the bounty of my carnal understanding, I did it in an act of rebellion. I was drunk, and I was like, I do what I want. And I had been a virgin all through high school, and I got into a really good college, and I was like everybody's good girl. And so the summer before I left college, I was like, I do what I want. And I started drinking, and I started smoking, and I started having sex. And when I decided to have sex, it was in a place of fuck you. Like, and fuck you, here we go again, reclaiming vernacular. Where I was like, I can do what I want, and you don't matter, and pretty much any authority figure. And my Catholic upbringing, I was so ashamed about anything sexual until recently. I mean, well, you just saw how blushy I got about reading my high school notes that had to do with sex. I'm like, I didn't do that in high school. Because I still have shame around it, because we learn that stuff very, very young, and we learn it very, very deep. No pun intended. We learn it very deep. It goes deep, yo. That sexual shaming. So I felt myself specifically when I decided to have sex for the first time. I didn't have a conversation about it. The person I lost my virginity to was someone who I didn't really want to have sex with. It was completely me being a traviesa. It was me being like, whatever, F you, I do what I want. And after that, I thought that the only person who would ever love me was this person who I wasn't really in love with, who I lost my virginity to, because I was taught that your virginity is so valuable that that's all men want. So I really believed that no man would ever love me again once I started having sex. And then when I went to college and I stopped having sex, I went on a whole year of celibacy and like prayed all the time and asked for forgiveness every day. And then I had a resurgence and I was like, I'm a grown woman, I'm responsible, and I'm gonna do what I want. And then, and that's really when like my self-love started moving through, and it had nothing to do with a man, and it had nothing to do with having sex. It had to do with me desexualizing myself and desexualizing my body and really communicating with my body and dancing in my body and learning how to masturbate and not being shameful about masturbating. So these are all different kinds of things that we need to reckon with if we want to have healthy sexual relationships with partners, okay? There were times in past relationships I thought the only way to relate with a man was to sexualize myself. And then when he didn't want to have sex, I'm like, what's wrong with me? Because not everything's about sex. But we're taught in this culture that everything's about sex. What we really are missing is intimacy. Intimacy does not connote only sex. Intimacy is crying with somebody. Intimacy is being vulnerable. Intimacy, like that's why I got all like crazy with you guys right now, is because I just like shared some really intimate stuff like from my formative years, and that is hard to do. And it's even harder when you are not used to doing that. And it's harder if you've been taught to be shameful of those things and you're with someone who you want to accept you, who you want to love you, who you want to share with, who you don't want to reject you. Intimacy is crying with someone. Intimacy is farting in front of someone. Intimacy is cooking together. Intimacy is touching without sex. Okay? My practice is very intimate. When people come in to see me and they lay on my table, I ask them or I just touch them depending on the feeling I get. Sometimes I don't touch them, but they share things with me that they've never shared with anyone else. And being in that closeness and being accepted and being loved is healing, and being not judged is healing. So I encourage you all to practice intimacy. And when I say practice, I really mean that. It's like my healthcare practice. It's called a practice because we're always working on it. There's no destination. You just, bit by bit, poco a poco, you try to show up loving. Okay, show up asking, say things that are hard to say. Breaking up with someone is super intimate, right? You have to, or it doesn't have to be. If you send a text and you're like, it's over, that's it. There's no furling of your heartstrings, right? If you have to tell someone, I don't feel like it's right and I need to move on, but you really love that person, that's painful and it sucks to say, it's hard to say, but when you say it, there's an intimacy there. Intimacy means understanding, trying to understand, holding space. Intimacy means allowing even when it's uncomfortable. When that someone tells you, I can't, and you look at them and you feel them and you go, okay, you know. There's ways to be intimate with your family. I'm so intimate with my family in a lot of levels. With my mom especially, we talk about stuff that it's really uncomfortable to talk about. We talk about an abuse-ridden childhood. You know, we talk about when my father left, and we talk about my sister who isn't hers, and how I love my sister. And my mom's so graceful about my baby sister, you know, even though that she's not hers. And there are people who don't accept children. Man, I could just go on and on and on. That's why I do this. You know, though, I'm feeling like I'm ready to not keep going on and on and on. I feel a little uncomfortable. I feel a little uncomfortable talking without someone to bounce ideas off of. That's why I was hoping someone would call in and say, "What's up, Themi? Can you answer this question for me?" But nobody has called in. I'm gonna check my Facebook and see if someone said, yo, I want to know about this, about that. What? I would take you screwily? I don't know what that means. Okay, so looks like there wasn't that. People, that's also... You know, let's talk about inappropriate intimacy. How many of you have been sent a dick pic? That's not really intimacy. That's just violating boundaries. Okay? Intimacy is like, hey, let me be vulnerable. I would like to show you a picture of my dick. And then you go, why would you like to show me a picture of your dick? I'm like, well, I've been conditioned that because I have a somewhat larger dick, at least is what they've said, that people would affirm me by the size of my dick. So because I want your affirmation, I want to send you a picture of my dick. And then you'd say, well, I can affirm you in many other ways, but I'd kind of like to get to know you before I see your dick. And then they go, oh, wow, that's very grown up of you, or how very mature of you, or how very insightful of you to want to know me before you see my dick. I don't know. Maybe the conversation will go like that. But chances are, if you've been sent a dick pic, it is without consent. I actually had a person, you know who you are, Send me a whole video, a video. And I was like, oh, why? I did not ask to see that. And it felt very violating. I'm like, I don't want to see that. But I just don't understand. Gentlemen, why? Can you like write on this video why you would send a girl you don't really know a dick pic? Please, somebody tell me. Let's see if anybody's responded to this potential ideation of a dick pic. It's interesting. Okay, that's unsolicited. Do women, have you ever just sent an unsolicited vagina pic? Has anyone ever sent a vagina pic? Actually, here's a better question. How many of you women, specifically, because it's easier to see a penis than it is to see a vagina, right? How many of you women actually have looked at your own vagina in a mirror, down like a mirror? So I really, really highly recommend women, because we're trying to get over the whole shame that the patriarchy has put upon us about our vaginas. How many of you have taken a moment, gotten a mirror, gotten a light, and really just sat with your vagina and explored the outer labia and the inner labia and your vaginal canal, and maybe you can see the pieces of skin where your hymen broke, and you can look at your clitoris and like the hood of your clitoris. Our vaginas are fascinating. And how many of you know that flowers represent penises and vaginas? Okay, springtime is here, and you know how they say like people get all crazy in springtime and want to have sex? That's because literally everywhere in nature, there's little penises and little vaginas popping up, and then the bees come and they land on the penises and they land on the vaginas, and then they cross-pollinate. Again, a squash. Squashes are crazy. You can tell the female flowers from the male flowers because the male flowers have penises and the female flowers have vaginas, and it's just really cool. Nature is sex, guys. Sex isn't shameful. Sex is beautiful. Sex is what makes life, okay? So I like reading this letter. I stopped reading it because I see how like we sexualize ourselves in a way that isn't cute. It's not fun. It's not pretty. It's not sacred. It's not honoring. And I'd really like to shift that. So I think I am going to invite someone on the show to talk about that. Oh, look, here's another little, okay, this is the last one that I'm gonna read, and then we're gonna call it a day, and I'm gonna watch this later and feel so awkward. Maybe I'll even take it down. So maybe you guys should just feel really special if you're watching right now and you've actually lasted through my rambling. Maybe I'll even write a script next time. Look at how cute. I can't even open it. How cute. Aww. All right. This is before cell phones. Hey, kids out there. Oh, he drew a little flower. How nice. Hey, sexy. How are you? I'm sitting in creative writing, and I'm bored out of my mind. Thanks for writing me back. I hope you didn't miss anything in British literature. Also, why was I taking British literature? I'm like native in Spanish. I don't need to be taking British lit, okay? America. You know, there's like that whole fight, right? The whole like war thing, you know, where we want our independence and we're still teaching British lit. Anyways, isn't your teacher weird? She is the worst teacher I ever had. Well, I better go because it's 11:03, time for lunch. I'll talk to you later. P.S. Double smooch. I got a double smooch. So this is the kinds of things that people who don't have sex with each other write in letters to one another. It's really cute. It was folded really cute too. Look, and you can put it inside. I'm going to go and write somebody a letter after this. That's going to be awesome. All right, guys, my sex life was non-existent in high school, so I'm sorry these aren't that fun. My friend's sex life looked like, wait, I remember now. Ready? Watch. Oh, open the letter. Did you see how cool that was? How cool that was. I think I might burn all these when I go home. Oh, he drew a little heart. Good afternoon, you beautiful female creature. How are you? I am feeling 97.8% better, almost 100%, which is good because I felt pretty crappy on Sunday. It was very nice talking to you over the weekend. We used to have to schedule phone calls because we had phones that lived on walls, guys. Phones were on walls. We didn't have cell phones. Every minute I wasn't talking to you, I missed you even more. It was very nice to see you today. I'm glad I managed to get my ass to school. I'm sorry you are going to be busy this week. If there is anything I can do, I would love to help, so let me know. I really want to go to the basketball game, but I don't know if I have to work, so I have to check. I'm watching the end of the movie in French class right now, and the teacher is giving me the eye, so I better stop writing. Hearts, 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 XOs, 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 XOs. Talk to you later. P.S. Hugs and kisses, hugs and kisses, hugs and kisses, hugs and kisses, and so on and so on. Au revoir, French class. That was really cute, y'all. All right, so I was really cute in high school. We were really cute in high school. I started having sex after high school because I was threatened by an uncle, and pretty much taught to believe that if I had sex, I wouldn't be valuable in this society anymore because of Puritan culture. So I'm glad I'm over that, and I'm glad I am in a partnership with someone right now who loves me no matter what I do. And we've talked about open relationships, and we've talked about our other relationships and our other sexual experiences, and we are very, very open with how we engage in our sexual acts together, and we really honor it, and it's really beautiful, and I'm so grateful that I have such a wonderful person in my life right now who can hold space for all of me, hold space for my shame, hold space for my sexuality, hold space for the tigress in me, hold space for my Aphrodite archetype, hold space for the fact that I am reading high school letters to a big audience right now. Yeah, not that fun. Yeah, I miss you. Have a beautiful afternoon. Hugs and kisses. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. It could have been more juicy. I could read the juicy one, but I get scared because I'm still in my shame place. But let me try this one. This one's from my friend. My friend. Do homework. Not busy. Oh, how cute. Me and my high school boyfriend were so in love. She says, it makes me smile to know that you and, parentheses, high school boyfriend who shall remain nameless, and him are so happy together. I want to go to the concert this weekend, but I think I'm not going to be able to go. Blah, 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 blah. Snowy on Saturday. Wow, guys. High school, though. Cell phones are fun. Let's just say cell phones are fun. All right, so my name is Eutimia La Kwaxiru. This has been my rambling since my prospective guest canceled. If you want to be a guest and talk about all kinds of fun things, let me know, or you might get some more ramblings from me. Oh, this is cute. Look, this is my East High School letter. I lettered in cheerleading in East High School, guys. It was really cute. Really cute. And what's this one? So if you want to know what's up with me, if you want to get treatment by me, that would be really good. I really enjoy doing my work more than I enjoy reading high school letters to a perceivedly non-existent crowd. And I'm actually a lot better at my healing work than reading high school letters to a perceivedly non-existent crowd. So thank you for bearing with me if you have. And if you haven't, I don't blame you. This is my Halloween costume. I'm a virgin. And I am going to enjoy my night chilling. And I think I might burn all these letters because, the past is in the past and I want to move forward with my life. Hashtag We Are Denver. My handle's Muse in Medicine. To know more about my healing practice, you can go to my Muse in Medicine page or La Kwaxiru as well on Instagram. That's more like my personal life, and hashtag all the things I crazy love. So many blessings your way. Please enjoy your birthing process. If you are about to give birth, look at all your options. And yeah, that's about it. Bye for now.